Hello and welcome to Mrs. Z's Reading Strategies. Here we go. All right, teachers, parents, and students, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to hit that bell so you'll receive notifications of new lessons and new strategies. Mrs. Z's Reading Strategies. All right, boys and girls, today our lesson is cause and effect. And the reason I'm doing this lesson first is because we're going to read a read aloud in the future about Ruby Bridges, the story of Ruby Bridges. And in that story, we can identify some cause and effect relationships. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about cause and effect. What is a cause and what is an effect? Well, a cause is what makes something happens in a story or why something happens. So cause answers the question, why? A cause always happens first, boys and girls. It always happens first, and the effect always happens second. Let's look at an example of cause. The floor was wet. What happens if a floor becomes wet? What's the effect? The effect is what happens second. It is what happens as a result of. So what can happen if the floor is wet? So I slipped and fell. The floor was wet. That's the cause. So I slipped and fell. That's the effect. Remember, the cause always happened first, and the effect always happens second. A cause is what makes something happens or why something happens. It always answers the question to why. The effect is what happens as a result. Okay, so today we're going to continue to identify the cause and effect in a picture. And then we're going to identify the cause and effect in a sentence. And then thirdly, we're going to identify the cause and effect in a passage. So you'll get a snippet of all three. That might be a part of your state standards. All right, boys and girls, in cause and effect relationships, sometimes you will notice signal language, or some teachers may say signal words. You can look for words such as this list right here to help you identify cause and effect. Words such as since, so, for, so that, because. You see that a lot in a sentence. As a result, therefore, due to the fact. Now you can use these words, and there are a few more, to join cause and effect sentences. Now, let's identify some cause and effect relationships in pictures. Look at the pictures below. Let's match the cause and effect. Let's look at the causes. Right here, we see a light switch. Now, the light switch, what will happen if we turn it on? That's the cause. Now, you see the line? It is trending towards the light. The light will come on. So if we turn on the light switch, what will happen? The light will come on. So turning on the light switch is the cause. The light will come on is the effect. Which one happens first? The cause, the light switch coming on. Which one happens second? The light will come on. Number one, number two. This happens first. This happens second. Cause and effect. All right, do we understand, boys and girls? Okay, let's move on. Let's do the second one. The sun is shining. Oh, what happens if the sun shines and if it's hot outside? Let's see where we're going here. Oh, the snowman will melt. What causes the snowman to melt? The sun is shining. Get it? Cause. This happens first. This happens second. If there's no sun, then the snowman will remain the snowman. But because the sun is out and it's shining brightly, the effect will be that Mr. Snowman, he will melt. Cause and effect. This happens first and this happens second. So, do you understand that, boys and girls? All right, nod your head if you do. Great, great, great. Let's move on. Now, we're going to identify cause and effect relationship using signal words. Now, we're going to look at a sentence. Certain words, such as signal words, join cause and effect sentences. Remember that list that I showed you beforehand? Let's see if we can find that word in this sentence. I bought Dad a present because it was his birthday. Oh, wow. I see a word that can join the cause and effect relationship. Because, remember, it's on our list, boys and girls. And because you see the word because, you can identify what happens first. You can identify what happens second. Meaning that you can identify the cause and then you can identify the effect. Sometimes you can identify the effect first and go back and identify the cause. So it's just that easy. Let's read the sentence once again. I bought Dad a present because it was his birthday. In this particular sentence, I see the effect first. I bought Dad a present. Because many times we just don't buy Dad a present. It has to be some type of special occasion, right? So why did we buy Dad a present? Because it was his birthday. So it was his birthday happened first. That's the cause. Then I bought Dad a present. This is the effect. This happens first. This happens second. In this particular sentence, we have the effect and we have the cause. So I think I said it before we even went on. Let's go through these sentences. What is the cause? It was Dad's birthday. What is the effect? I bought him a present. All right, I think I taught it before we went on, boys and girls. I'm just so excited about learning. And what is the word that joined the cause and effect? Because. So remember that word when you see it in other sentences and passages. All right, boys and girls, good job, good job. Now, do you understand? Nod your head. All right, give me some type of signal that you understand. All right, thumbs up. Good job. Now, boys and girls, we're going to identify cause and effect relationship in a passage. So remember, you can identify cause and effect relationship in different things. First, we did a picture. Second, we did a sentence. And now third, we're going to look at a passage. Now, this is a little bit challenging, but that's okay. All you have to do is break up the sentences within the passage, and you will be able to identify cause and effect, just like you do anything else. Now, Ms. Zanders is going to read the passage. Now, your teacher, she may turn it off. Your parent may turn me off for a moment, and they might want to read it to you. Or if you're looking at this video alone, perhaps you might want to read it on your own. But I'm going to read it just in case. The Underground Railroad did not have anything to do with trains. It was a way for slaves to escape from the South and find freedom in the North. This railroad was made up of roads that slaves could follow at night. There were safe places called stations for the slaves to stay during the day. These places gave food and shelter to the slaves. The people who protected the slaves were called conductors. One famous conductor was Harriet Tubman. Being a conductor was very dangerous for her because she was an escaped slave. She was willing to risk her life in order to help other slaves. She wanted all slaves to have a chance to be free. She continued to be a conductor until Abraham Lincoln ended all slavery in America. The Underground Railroad was stopped when slavery ended. Now, we're going to answer some questions from this passage. Listen carefully, and I'm going to give you a chance to answer before I give you the answer. And remember what your teacher or your parent has taught you. Always go back and read the passage once again. Always go back and look for your answer. That's how we comprehend. We don't just answer A or B or C or D. We read and we reread. All right, boys and girls. Number 1, why was it dangerous for Harriet Tubman to work on the Underground Railroad? Now we have A, B, C, and D. We're going to read each option. And we're going to go back to the passage to find our answer. If we're not sure, some of these you might know, and you might be able to just mark your answer. But some of these might be a little bit challenging, and you might have to go back to the passage. If you want to get it right, that's the best thing to do. Now, why was it dangerous for Harriet Tubman to work on the Underground Railroad? A, she was too poor to give food and shelter to others. B, she did not know how to conduct real trains. C, she was an escaped slave and could get caught. Or D, she could have been attacked by animals at night. I'm going to give you one moment to answer this question. Ding, 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 ding. Time's up. All right, boys and girls. I think you guessed it. The answer is C. Now, why is the answer C? Why is the answer C? She was an escaped slave and could get caught. Because if we go back up to the passage where we read, let's go back. One famous conductor was Harriet Tubman. Being a conductor was very dangerous for her because, key word, look like I've seen that word before. Looks like that's a cause and effect relationship. Because she was an escaped slave. She was willing to risk her life in order to help other slaves. She was an escaped slave and could get caught. C is the answer. Now, if you answer C, then you understand cause and effect relationship. Why isn't it A? She was too poor to give food and shelter to others. It didn't mention anything in the story about she was too poor to give food and shelter to others. So if you didn't see it in the passage, boys and girls, it's most likely not the answer. B, she did not know how to conduct real trains. I didn't see that in the passage either. Because the first sentence says the Underground Railroad did not have anything to do with trains. So we know B is not the answer. And look at D. She could have been attacked by animals at night. Well, she could have been attacked by animals at night, but it didn't mention that in the passage, did it? No. We want facts. She was an escaped slave and could get caught. We know that it mentioned that in the passage. All right, so boys and girls, this is how we use our process of elimination. A, B, and D, we know are not the answers. So we can mark those out and choose C. All right, do we understand? Thumbs up. Let's go to number 2. Why did Harriet Tubman work on the Underground Railroad? Why? Remember, cause answers the question of why. Was it A, she enjoyed traveling on railroads? B, she wanted to meet Abraham Lincoln? C, her owner forced her to work there? Or D, she wanted to help other slaves be free? I'm going to give you 1 moment to answer that question. All right, boys and girls. If you answered D, you are correct. The last one. She wanted to help other slaves be free. How do you know? Because if we go right back up to the passage and we go back and read a little, it says right here, she was willing to risk her life in order to help other slaves. She wanted all slaves to have a chance to be free. All right? She was free and she wanted other slaves to be free. All right, boys and girls, we know it's not A. We know it's not B. It mentioned Abraham Lincoln. Don't get confused with B. She wanted to meet Abraham Lincoln. The passage mentioned him, but it didn't say that Harriet Tubman wanted to meet him. It said that she continued to be a conductor until Abraham Lincoln ended all slavery in America. So it didn't mention that she wanted to meet him. And C, her owner forced her to work there. It didn't mention that. It mentioned that she wanted to help other slaves be free. So if you want to make a good grade, and if you want to get the answer right, always go back. I know your teacher tells you all the time, go back and check the passage. Go back and reread the portion, and you'll definitely find the answer. All right, boys and girls. Number 3, what caused the Underground Railroad to stop being used? What caused the Underground Railroad to stop being used? Was it A, slaves were too afraid to travel? B, the police caught the runaway slaves? C, the conductors were sent to jail? Or D, it wasn't needed when slavery ended? I'm going to give you a moment. What caused the Underground Railroad to stop being used? Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Time's up. What do you say, boys and girls? Yes, the answer is D. It wasn't needed when slavery ended. How do you know? Because if we go right up here, the last sentence and the last paragraph. Paragraph number 1, paragraph number 2. So at the end of paragraph number 2, the Underground Railroad was stopped when slavery ended. It's right here in front of you. D, it wasn't needed when slavery ended. Okay? And those are your answers. That is how we identify cause and effect relationships in a picture, in a sentence, and then a passage. You did so well, boys and girls. I can't wait to do more lessons as such. So, boys and girls, as we close this lesson, remember that the cause happens first. Ask yourself, what happens first? And the effect happens second. Ask yourself, what happens last? Also, you can use this little tip right here. C before E. You know your ABCs, right? A, B, C, D, E. So C comes before E in the alphabet. Cause before effect. The C comes before the E. Got it? The C in cause comes before E, the effect. Also, don't forget to look for clue words or signal words or signal language. All of those your teacher might use, one or the other. Because, since, so, on account of, due to the fact, as a result, and all of the other words that we saw in the first slide. All of those are signal or clue words. Good job, good job. All right, boys and girls, the next steps, we're going to read, in the next video, we're going to read the story of Ruby Bridges. I'll read aloud, and we're going to identify cause and effect relationship in this story, why things happened, and what happened as a result of. All right, boys and girls, that is it for today. Don't forget, once again, to like, share this video with other teachers and parents and students. Please subscribe to our channel. It helps us. And don't forget to hit that bell so that when I present a new video, you'll be able to know that it's there. We'll email you or there's a notification. All right, boys and girls, parents, teachers, thank you and have a good day. Bye-bye.